Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Dex podcast. And I have a special treat for you today. This gentleman I met on a field trip to DeWalt, where we went to the unveiling of the Power Stack battery. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Is that the first time?
That's a flashback right there, brother.
Yeah, that was like in 2021, I think.
Yeah.
I was talking to Kyle Stumpenhorst last week, and we kind of deducted it was around 2021 when that happened. And this gentleman's name is John Malecki, and he is an awesome woodworker, hilarious guy, has some really great content, has 1.5 million or 1 million plus, almost 2 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, we've got a couple channels now. We're getting close to 2 million between the two of them.
Okay, all right. So that's something I didn't know. Plus, you also have your Instagram channel. And do you do any other social media?
Oh, we do them all, Jason. We're everywhere.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But what I always start, okay, and then here's a tidbit, and I'm not sure where this is going to go, but one of the coolest things that I thought when I met John, besides he's just an awesome dude, is he used to play professional NFL football. And that, I don't know many people that I personally can say, hey, I know this guy. He used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not that you just play NFL football, but you played for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Which is pretty badass.
Yeah. It was a huge blessing and an awesome life milestone for me. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I went to Pitt.
Yeah.
And then getting to play for the Steelers was
awesome.
It was amazing.
Okay, so we'll get to that, but I want to rewind. I like to hit the rewind button a little bit. Yep, and let's talk. Okay, so I haven't had many people talk about their childhood. A lot of people just don't have much to say about it, whatever, but if you want to talk about anything growing up, elementary school or whatever, but and then most people get into junior high and high school. So what was your upbringing like?
So as I mentioned, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I'm from Pittsburgh, about 20 miles east of the city of Pittsburgh. Grew up in a pretty blue collar family. My dad worked construction. My grandfather worked construction. My uncle is a tradesman. And they, with that skill set comes the want and desire to have things and never pay for them. So as a young man, I was introduced to tools, and they were constantly doing projects, additions, roofs, patios. My grandfather, he's like 88 right now, and he still loves playing with concrete. So grew up in that kind of an environment. Sports for me was a massive focus. I grew up, fortunate enough to be able to play football and baseball as a kid. And I got a little brother. He's 14 months younger than me. So we were close enough in age that we got to kind of grow up playing together. And that kind of groomed me to get into sports. But I was always a bigger kid. So I was free labor. So I got my hands dirty way more often than any kid likes to, helping out whoever needed it at the time. And when I got to middle school, I actually took a woodworking class because I thought it was cool. My dad was like, we had this when I was growing up. I enjoyed it. You should definitely check it out and try it.
That is cool.
Yeah, my mom still has a couple of those projects, but it was never really something like dramatically important to me. I grew up enough around being handy that I knew that the skills of being handy were valuable to what my opinion of being an adult male is. And so I was always kind of familiar with tools and stuff, but football consumed my life pretty much from being 7 till I stopped playing when I was like 23.
Wow.
And that was a lot of intense time and focus. But as a young kid growing up in middle school and high school, I never really had a real job. If I wanted to make some money, I would cut grass, I would mulch, I would roof, I would do some basic framing or home repair kind of stuff. So I was always using random kind of tools and stuff, but get my hands dirty to make a buck. So I always kind of had that like blue collar hustle in my blood. Cool. And in my upbringing. And so, after high school, I was fortunate enough to receive a scholarship to the University of Pittsburgh, where I went to play football.
So hold on. So when you started, how old were you when you started playing football? Were you junior high or Pop Warner or what?
I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. I played 2 years of midget football, then went to middle school.
Okay.
So whenever middle school starts.
Mm-hmm. So
Fourth,
you
fifth
had
grade,
you had some
fifth,
pretty
sixth grade.
good. And what were you playing?
I was when I started playing, I was a linebacker and a fullback because the fullback still existed.
Okay.
Then.
And then when you went, and then okay, so then you did the Pop Warner style with, and then you went into junior or middle school. And
Yeah.
what positions were you in then?
I was doing the same. I was still trying to play linebacker and fullback. Kind of got to a point where I was growing physically, and one of our coaches was like, you should try to play D tackle. And I was actually recruited to play college football as a defensive lineman. And I was like, that was what I wanted to do and what I wanted to play. And he kind of basically chucked me into a drill as like a defensive end, or a 3 techniques, what it's called, interior kind of pass rush situation. And I was good, and we needed that spot filled, so I just kind of stayed there. And as I started to get bigger, I went from like 100 and I don't know, say 7th grade, like 175 pounds to like 230 in 8th grade, and I graduated high school at 285.
285. 285. How tall are you?
Right under 6'3". I like to say I'm 6'3".
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's what the professional roster says, so let's go with that.
Yeah.
Don't they always make you a little bigger than you are when they're trying to make you as intimidating as possible?
Little bit. They're usually not far off though. They're usually like under your weight for linemen though. So if a dude says he's like 350, if it's November, you're looking at that guy. That guy's 4 bills. Like he is packed it on during the season.
Sure. Well, I guess you kind of need to when you're doing that position. So you went to college. So you played football all through high school.
Yep.
How'd your team do?
We were good. I mean, we were AAA, so we had at the time 4A in our state. My sophomore year, we were a 4A school, but we were 2 male graduates over the cutoff, and they did a recount going from my sophomore to junior year. And in that time, we dropped, and we actually were underneath. So we dropped down to AAA. Went to the playoffs. We won our conference for the first time in like 2 decades. My junior year, and then our senior year, we won it all. We
good for
won
you.
State championship.
Did you tell them you were welcome when you crossed the stage with your letterman when they give you your letterman's jacket and all that?
I was being a lineman, man. I've never really cared to like have the spotlight on me. We were super blessed. We had 4 guys go play Division I football on that team. And like 5 more go play D1 AA or D2.
Wow.
So a lot of talent. And that was just a senior class. And so like there was a lot more to do with it than just me. A lot of people like to credit me, but at the end of the day, I was a guard and a defensive tackle. Like couldn't have done too much. Someone still had to run the football and catch the ball and do all the other stuff on the field.
So then you go to college. So how were your grades in high school?
Oh, good. I mean, for a normal student, I had really good grades. For my high school, I was a pretty average student. I graduated high school, I think, with like a 3.7, 3.8.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but like in my school, if you didn't have like a 4.6 or one of those like elevated, like taking college classes,
AP,
AP, you were pretty average. Like my best friend, he graduated with like a 4.3 and went and played linebacker at Cornell. And like,
how do you get a 4.3 grade point average? I thought it was 4.0 was as high as you could get.
That's what I'm saying. Is when you take college classes,
you get a higher
credit.
rate. Yeah, okay,
it was
fair
nuts.
enough.
But our valedictorian, it was this chick. She was a junior. She graduated with the seniors, completely perfect. It was like a 4.7, full ride to Harvard. Like skipped 2 years. It was not like we had a lot of really smart students.
Yeah, you had some talent at that school, huh?
Well, what was insane was I graduate from high school and I feel like an idiot, and then I get to Pitt and I took the SATs. This is when they were only 2 parts. My sophomore year, and
do you remember
we're going
your score?
from my sophomore to junior year.
Do you remember your SAT scores?
It was a 1090.
Oh, good for you.
No. But I took it like my buddies were like, you should take this SAT before junior year so you can focus on football. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. So we went and took it, no prep, nothing. Showed up, took it, 1090. My buddy got a 1450 that I went with, right? And we're like going into junior year or whatever it is, and like no prep at all. I start getting recruited to play football, knowing that like there's multiple kids in my school with a 1600, and this is at the time when it was 2 parts, and so 1600 was a perfect score.
Mm-hmm.
And there's multiple kids in my school with this, and I just, like I said, just feel dumb. And then I get to Pitt, and I have the second highest SAT score of all students that came in my recruiting class. And like the other dude, he's a good friend of mine now, but we were just like, what is going on? Like, I'm an idiot compared to my like peers I grew up with. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, I had good grades. I always cared I cared a lot about school. I always knew that the only way I was going to get a degree or go to college was by playing sports. So I pursued it with the intention of, like I want to get good grades. I took AP classes, math and physics and stuff always clicked well for me. I wasn't really good at like the other ends of AP and stuff. So I married one of those. But for me, I knew school was going to play an important role in like that segment of my life. So I cared a lot and tried.
Good deal. Cool. Okay, so we graduate high school and we go to college. And you say Pitt. Is that the University of Pittsburgh or is it Pittsburgh? Yes. Okay. And so you're a freshman there. And so how does the football correlate with the student, like being a student? And what I mean is like as being drafted or recruited into a college, what was your freshman year like as far as the sports? Like, were you good enough to play, or were they grooming you at that time, or how did that work?
So I went to Pitt because they promised I could play early. I also really liked the head coach. They wanted me to play defense. Other schools wanted me to play offense. And I wanted to play defense in college. So it's like an interesting aspect of that phase of my life was like I graduated high school and all my friends went to senior week. I went to the Big 33, which is an all-star game. I tore my labrum again, so I've got 9 anchors in my left shoulder. My senior year, I played the whole playoff run with like my left labrum was torn. I got surgery 2 days after we won the state title, and then it was 6 months later I got cleared and I went to play in the Big 33. I toured again, and then I showed up at Pitt 5 days later. So like I graduated high school and went to college a week later. Everyone else graduates high school. They go to college in the fall. They get a whole summer to go and screw off and do whatever stupid stuff they want to do. Right. So that was like first thing right in the face. Graduate high school, went right to college. You get there, and as a freshman, you get pissed on pretty much by like everything that could happen. Right. You're living in like a tiny little dorm room. You're with a bunch of guys that you've never met before. You don't have any money. You can't have a car, all this kind of stuff. More or less like they throw you in to get some classes going for you and then also get you into like the rhythm of what football looks like. And so you're practicing. I mean, you're at the facility every single day, except the weekends, and you're lifting. And then all summer long, you're actually having like minor practices. And this was 2000. This is 20 years ago. So this is like 2006. And at the time, rules were a lot different and whatnot, but more or less you just get thrown right in the mix. So you end up becoming an 18-year-old kid that goes and shows up on a college campus. You have to actually start doing this stuff that everyone talks about. And then you're on the field practicing against 21, 22-year-old grown men who have been doing this for years and getting your ass kicked with no pads on. But you learn quickly and you adapt quickly to like the frameworks of how you can be successful, showing up early, good effort, learn the playbook, put in extra time to watch film, etc. Don't get in trouble, all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of like the route that I took.
Okay. And so when did you play your first college game?
Yeah, I was super fortunate. I lettered all 4 years. I played in every game.
Oh, wow.
All 4 years of college. Yeah, I was a 3-year starter. I played in the first game of the season. I like I said, I had one arm, and at the time, they were kind of hiding that under the radar. It's pretty common, and they needed me to play, so I couldn't get surgery preseason. So I kind of just had that. You look at film, and I'm this huge 18-year-old kid I got this like big thing on my arm that's holding it in the socket all season long, and I played pretty well.
Wow. Yeah.
For kind of getting out there, we had I was really fortunate. Darrell Rivas was on that team. We had another dude, an All-American. His name was HB Blades. Clint Session had a long NFL career. A couple other guys, Tyler Palco, Jared Odrick. We had a couple receivers. So like good team. We started the season 6-1. We ended the season 6-6. But I got to learn a ton there. I got my first backyard brawl under my belt. But yeah, I was super fortunate. I remember we were playing Virginia. It was like the second quarter or something like that. D-line coach was like, "All right, Malecki, you're in." I went in there, got my ass kicked by this dude, Brandon Albert, I think his name was. He was a first round draft pick, playing right guard out of there, just kind of like walled me and pancaked my ass. But yeah, it was college football, baby.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. So, okay, so let's go. And are you majoring in anything in particular?
Yeah, college? I went to Pitt. So I was really cool. There was another local kid from the area. His name's Scott McKillop. He's a good buddy of mine. He was like my host and kind of like a mentor. We knew each other a little bit growing up. We had common friends. He was a little older than me, and he was in the business school. And so I knew going in the Pitt, we talked, and he was like, "Yeah, business school should be a breeze for you, with your grades and stuff, et cetera, et cetera." And so I was already like fast tracking to get into business school.
Okay. And at this point in your college journey, have you met your wife yet?
Oh no, hell no.
No. Okay. All right. No. Okay. So you get through your sophomore and junior year, your senior year. When did you have the surgery to repair your shoulder?
Yeah, 3 days after my freshman year ended. So I had surgery end of my senior year of high school, and then again 12 months later, the same surgery.
Okay, and then that time it held?
Yeah, so they only put like 4 anchors in the first time, and I think they put another 6 in. So there's like 9 or 10 anchors in there now. And and that whatever. Yeah, I could get into detail.
Sure. Okay, and then so your senior year, you play the season, you're doing well. And how's the conversation come about, like a professional NFL team is seriously thinking about having you play for them? How does that happen?
So this is actually an interesting part of the conversation of my life. Is like I played 2 years of defense. They switched me to offense my junior year, and then I started at right guard, and I started at right guard again my senior year. Size wise, I'm very much like a center. Like I'm built to be a center. I just never played center in college. And so, I was first team all conference. It was really cool. My senior year, back when the Big East existed, we had our first 10-win season in 20 or 30 years or something like that, at Pitt. And, we were like at the highest, we were ranked like 9th in the country. So like we were a really good football team. It was awesome. I got to play with a bunch of like really good players. And, coming down to the end of the season, we were primarily focused on like we had a shot to go play in the Orange Bowl, and so that was pretty much all it was. I had you couldn't have an agent. You also couldn't get paid. There was a lot of the rules were way different back then, and this is like 2010. So I had an agent lined up that I was going to be working with based on like some personal friends and some people, some friends that are already in the NFL, et cetera, and a lot of the conversations were like, this kid's good. This kid can play, but we need him to play center. Like the scouts are all like, he's got us play. So I started snapping, learning to kind of play center a little bit, but I had no game experience. Coming out of our senior year, we'd done really well. Everyone wants to shot at the league. So everyone starts training for, if you get an invite to the combine or what's called pro day at each school. So there's a day at each school around the country, that they bring scouts in, and they have, you do your 40, your bench test, your vertical, you do your broad jump, L drill, all that kind of stuff. Same thing that we see on TV for the NFL combine. They just do it. It's called a pro day, and they have it all the way down to like D3 schools. So with all that being said, I just started training for that. I just started I had to put on weight. I was like 285, 290 when I graduated. I tried to get up to like 305, 310. I moved pretty well in college, but I was, you gain a lot of weight really fast. Certain things start to happen to you. So I wasn't like as fast as I needed to be. I'm also like, I'm strong for a normal person, but for those guys, I'm not like a freak. So none of that stuff kind of worked well to me. I ended up going undrafted. And so this is actually, as we're recording this, I don't know when this is going to post. This is actually draft week. So tomorrow is the first round of the NFL draft. And the way it works is there's just a list of individuals who are available to be drafted, right? And teams will know based on their scouting reports who they're interested in. So they're already like kind of culled and cut down. But everything happens on draft weekend. So we were getting a lot of buzz around the league from teams that wanted that potentially were thinking about me late last. It was only 2 days at the time, so late second day kind of pick. So it was Friday, Saturday when I was when I was playing. So Friday we were expecting absolutely nothing, but Saturday, we knew that a call might come at some point during the day. So I basically was just watching the draft with my family in my parents' house with some friends and whatnot, and fifth, sixth round starts to come in, and my phone starts to ring a little bit. My agent just keeps pinging me. He's like, "Hey, Oakland just called," or "Hey, the Redskins just called. Denver just called. They're not going to make a move on you, but they're interested." Blah 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 blah. All that being said, draft ends. Nothing happens. No one drafts me. Then the phone starts blowing up. Little does most people know, all free agents are signed pretty much that day. Now things might be different now with the way NIL works and people holding out and all that BS, but I got like 4 different offers from a couple teams or something like that. I wasn't on the phone with him, my agent was, and basically what ended up happening was within 30 minutes of the draft ending, I signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Tennessee Titans, and so they ended up signing me, and I packed my bags and flew down there 3 days later to go through rookie minicamp.
Crazy. So
Yes.
did you actually play a season with the Tennessee Titans?
No. And this is where the story gets better. So I get cut. Let me take a step back. This is April. I still have like a couple weeks left of school. So it's like a Friday. I go down, I go through rookie minicamp the next week. I end up having to leave to go walk at my college graduation. Jeff Fisher was the coach at the time, and he was like, "It's way more important for you to go and be there for that than to be here. So, let me go." And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I go walk at graduation with my parents, my grandparents, and there's not a lot of college graduates in my family, so that was cool. And then 2 weeks later, I pack up all of my stuff and moved to a hotel in Tennessee to live there, and then go through the summer of training with the team. All that is built up. I'm living in Nashville in 2010, so it was awesome. It was also not what it is now, but it was close, and it was a blast. Make some good friends. The rookies stick together a lot. Some of the vets, bring rookies under the wing. Blah 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 blah. There's a lot of things you start to learn in like the real world, right? Like in the NFL, you have a lot of downtime in the off season to yourself, and when you're single and you're by yourself, that's when I started reading a lot of books, and that's when I started binge watching television shows, because I'm living in a hotel by myself. Go through this whole summer, train my ass off, try to do everything I can to learn the playbook the best that I can. We're in the 3rd week of training camp in August at this point, and the first game of training camp is like week 3 or 4, somewhere in that ballpark. But we've been having practices. Essentially, it's the Thursday before the first Saturday preseason game. I'm like, just have my ankles taped. I'm putting on my cleats to go out to practice. Strength coach comes, taps me on the shoulder, and I look up, and everyone, they call him the Grim Reaper. Everyone knows what he's doing, walking around the locker room, right? And he's got a clipboard, and essentially, if he taps you, you're out. So they needed a tackle. I was a center guard. I was low man on the totem pole. So they released me. I go in, I shake Coach Fisher's hand. I shake Coach Munchak's hand. They thank me for my time and whatnot that summer. That's it. It's over. Damn. And so I get in my truck, drive 10 hours back to Pittsburgh. And for the first time in my life, I was like, is this it? Like, is football done? It's just ripped from you, right? And I've never really had that scenario present itself. So
had to be heartbreaking, huh?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I was 21, maybe 22.
Oh man.
And I just felt alone in the world. And it was like one of those gut-wrenching moments that, looking back on it now as an adult man, with a bunch of shit going on, it wasn't that bad. But at the moment it was everything. And it was for sure a gut check moment. And I just remember getting back to Pittsburgh. It was the middle of the night. My friends knew that I got released, and so the next day it was just sat. I think I sat at a bar for 12 hours, just like pounding beers and sobbing with my buddy, like about it with my buddies. And that's what's funny about this is like that happens. So that's the Friday. Like I think it was Thursday. That's the Friday. Or I got cut Wednesday, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get drunk with my buddies on Thursday. Friday, get a call from Cleveland, and my agent's like, "Hey, they need a guard. Get your packed to get to Cleveland." So packed the truck, drove my ass to Cleveland, played in the game on Saturday, and then I was with them for the rest of preseason.
Cool.
They released me after the preseason ended.
Not cool. Jeez Louise, John.
So that's cut number 2.
Okay.
So I go home after that, and now I'm like, "Oh, this is the way the business works. Like I just got to get my shit together and kind of make sure I'm staying in shape and like I'm good enough to like, get picked up here or there." My agent's like, "Yeah, you're going to be a tweener until you can prove that you can play, get more game film and more blah, blah, blah." So all that being said, it's about 5 or 6 weeks into the season. I get a tryout with the Buccaneers. So I get on a plane and fly down to Tampa, and I go through this tryout. I do pretty well in my opinion. Let my agent know. They're like, "You did awesome, X, Y, and Z. We need a tackle." So they signed this other dude. His name was Brandon. And so I go home, and what a lot of people don't know about the NFL is you only get paid for the weeks of the season. So if you're making $16 million, you make $1 million a week for the 16 weeks of the season. Easy math. If you're not on a team, you're not getting paid. The summer, you get paid like $1,000 a month. Like it was nothing.
They pay your airfare and stuff to get there.
They'll pay your airfare. They'll pay your flights, your hotel, right? But like once you get signed to a contract, you pay out of your salary. So anyway, fly me down, fly me back home. They play a game on Sunday. Someone gets hurt. They call me. They sign me the next week. So I'm down in Tampa Bay on Monday, and I was like worked out the previous Wednesday. So in order to get paid, you have to be on the roster for at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays at the time. And so they signed me to practice squad. I'm there for like, let's say the next 6-7 weeks. They release me. So that's 3 cuts. Then I come back home. I'm literally getting off the plane, get picked up, driving home. My agent's like, "Get in your truck, go to Cleveland." So Cleveland signs me for a few weeks. I'm there for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then they release me. I'm driving back home to Pittsburgh. I get back to my parents' house. Tampa calls. I'm back into Tampa. So I'm back on a plane, fly down there. So I'm with Tampa for the rest of the season. I end up getting like, I don't know, like I think 10 or 11 weeks of the season, however much time that is. With the team, Tampa signs me to what's called a futures contract. And then the entire NFL goes into the NFL lockout. So I've gone through 7 cuts the first season.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm on a futures contract with the Bucks going into the 2011 season. So we missed the playoffs by a half a point, blah, blah, blah. Go home. There's no off-season workouts this year because of the lockout. And you can go back and look that up if you care. I end up paying for everything that I needed to pay for, going through all of like the summer stuff with the money that I made and working through training and like getting myself in shape, getting ready to show up at this training camp and kick ass. I get down there. It's like August 1st. It's the first day of training camp. I get packed into the hotel. I get my roommate. I go and get a workout in. I go to, shower up. I'm walking from there to the first team meeting of training camp, and I get the Grim Reaper tap on the shoulder. And he's like, "Hey, John, we're going to have to let you go. We signed someone else, blah, blah." And I'm like, the NFL's still locked out, but they're allowing teams to function now. So I didn't even get a chance to practice or like a chance to meet the new offensive line coach or do anything. And I get nipped, sent back to Pittsburgh.
This is so emotional. This is so emotional, bro.
You're as a dad, you're probably like, "Damn, dude."
I just, oh man, I'm like, I had no idea.
Oh yeah. And I mean, this is 1 year. I mean, we're 14 months into my NFL journey.
And you're how old? 21?
22, 23.
Okay,
like
so
21.
most 21, 22-year-olds are that finish college, like they're just trying to figure out what they're going to do. And you've been tossed into the NFL, but in a really highly emotional way. That's just a lot. Okay.
I'll get run through the grader.
Yeah, man. Totally. Yeah. So you're back.
Yeah, you got to remember, you're going from literally nothing straight to the top of an industry. And like, as an individual who does what you do, like you understand what the biggest deck building companies in the world do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just got thrown into that mix.
Wow.
Right out of college. Like there was no ease my way up, learn anything, right?
0
I've
to
got football
1,000.
backgrounds, but the business side of it was nuts. So I get back to Pittsburgh. I'm on the couch. Agent calls. Hey, how close are you to Latrobe, which is like the town over from where I grew up?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, 22 minutes. He's like, get in your truck and drive up there. The Steelers just had a dude walk off of the practice field and quit. They need a center. And I was like, so my agent at the time was James Harrison's agent, if you're familiar with him. And so he had great rapport with the team. Anyway, go up there. It's still locked out, so I can't sign. But like, I've gone through 8 or 9 transactions or whatever at the time. But I'm like, these are my heroes, right? Like the Steelers went to the Super Bowl the year before. So in 2010, they went and they lost to Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. And this is the following season. They're locked out. I signed a contract for to get the opportunity to go through training camp with them. And it was like one of the most surreal moments of my life. Cause I remember walking in to like the locker room, just being like, holy shit. That's Big Ben. That's Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah. Like, holy cow.
These are like my heroes, and that's Aaron Smith. That's Marquise Pouncey, right? And then like, it was nuts. And so I remember like sending photos of my name's on a locker, and I remember sending photos of my buddies and stuff. And what's really cool is, like I said, it was super close to my hometown. So they have open practices. Everyone that I knew was coming up to practice to watch, and everyone got to like be a part of that and experience it. We had I was playing for my life at the time, and the offensive line coach was a good dude who really liked me, and liked how I played and like the way I approached the game and stuff. So I go through that training camp. Remember, like it was cool, man. Like everyone in my life got to like come and watch and like participate in preseason, and then I end up getting cut at the end of preseason. But the way that it works is, so I was a practice squad player for a while. They signed me the minute I cleared waivers to what's called the practice squad. So I made the team on the practice squad. So I go through all that and I'm like, holy shit, I'm a Steeler now, right? And I was with them for like the first 6 weeks of the season. They released me for some personnel kind of stuff that was going on. I ended up going down to Washington for a few weeks, come back, and then the Steelers actually signed me the day after Christmas, after like however many weeks that is. And then I was with them for pretty much the rest of my career. And then we get through 2013 or 14 preseason, and they released me for the last time. And that was kind of when I was just like, damn, dude, I've lived my dream, like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I had no skills or experience in the real world and didn't know what to do, but it was a hell of a journey, man.
That is amazing. Okay. So your football career, did it end because of injury, or did it just end because, I mean, the average career in NFL is not very long, right?
Correct. Not for long is what NFL stands for. So I think it's like 2.5 or 3 years or something like that. And so I was like right there.
You told me the last time I talked to you about this, I think it was 2.5 years is what you told me.
Yeah. So
approximately.
I was this was year 4 for me, and I'm not pointing fingers or anything, because the way I look at it now is just I wasn't good enough to make the team. And whatever they were looking for, like I wasn't the guy. Like I said, I had to learn how to play center, and I was backing up the best center in the NFL at the time, Marquise Pouncey. We had an offensive line, that coach that liked me, he left. And the previous season I was on the active roster. So like I went from making like a couple $1,000 to like a lot of money. And I was like, I was in the games, like, right, I was playing. And it was awesome. But that offensive line coach left, and it's like any job, right? There's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of relationship stuff. And he went to bat for me. He really liked me, liked the way I played, and I knew the playbook inside and out. They brought in another guy, and for that season, it was complete and utter turmoil. But this dude sucked, and the Steelers this is like the Killer Bees era. They should have been Super Bowl contenders, and they were just screwing things up on the back end, like super hard, in my opinion, at that time. But they brought this coach in who like really couldn't get the room together. And so they went above him and they started bringing in some guys to try and fill some gaps. And they pretty much cut like most of the backups, myself included, brought in some dudes from other teams. And yeah, I just kind of lost a spot. With the hardest part about the whole thing though, Jason, is I get cut the Monday before the regular season. So like I said, you have to be on a roster on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Every other player in the NFL cleared waivers. I get cut on Monday. They sign this other dude from San Francisco. And the Sunday game, the third play of the game, the center blows his knee out. And so the backup is a guy who's literally never doesn't know the playbook. He's been there for 6 days, right? And the Steelers end up getting walloped in that game. And my agent's on the phone. They're like, John's the only dude in the country who knows this playbook who could come in and play tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And basically it was like the ship sailed on John. We're sorry. And like, I was like, cool. So that was like the lowest of all the lows, right? Yeah. And I actually have that sign like in my, as a motivational sign in my office here behind me.
Nice.
But that's just kind of the lay of the land, man. Like business is hard. The real world's hard. And that was it. So that was like kind of when in that last off season is when I started like building shit. I kind of like picked up the hobby. Like I said, there's a lot of time and started making tables and farting around with like tools and whatnot.
So let's get into that. The woodworking. So that's what you decided to do, right? Is you're done with your NFL career. I need to do something with my life. What is it that you're going to do? Yeah.
So this was major Chip and Joanna days, if you recall. Like they were at the peak of their like careers on Fixer Upper, and I loved that show. I thought Chip was the coolest dude ever. I've always been intrigued by like construction and home remodeling and flipping, and in Pittsburgh there's a lot of old houses and stuff. So like I love that concept. I knew I wanted to like get into working with my hands and something that was kind of the world that I thought I'd be going into. And it kind of just, like I said, started with farting around with tools. Someone broke a table the previous year while we were away. I came back and I was like, oh, I want to build something. I think I want to build this coffee table. So like I bought a plan and a pocket hole jig and started farting around with woodworking. When I got cut for that last time, I moved back to my parents' house, and I got a buddy of mine had just bought himself a house and had no furniture. So we were drinking in his garage a lot. And just started like kind of farting around with making things, and I put them on Facebook here and there, and people started inquiring about buying them. I went through probably like 10 job interviews to figure out, if there was a career out there for me. What a lot of people don't realize is, post-athletic career, like you have a very different journey into the real world, right? So, I didn't have time or the ability to apprentice or to intern in college, because I literally graduated high school, went to college, and I didn't leave college. We didn't have summer break. We didn't have spring break. As an athlete, you're there almost every day for 4 years. If you don't make a bowl game, you go home for winter break. But if you make a bowl game, you don't even get to go home for that, right? So I was in college for 4 years straight. I got zero experience in the real world, and now all of a sudden I'm 24. I was in the NFL. I had this like crazy journey of like learning what potentially the real world could be like. And then all of a sudden it hits me right in the face that I'm competing for the same job as this 21-year-old kid who had an internship at this thing and has experience and a resume with something on it, besides the fact that he was a big buffoon with his hand in the dirt trying to make it in the NFL. And so like I'm behind 4 years basically. And at that point was when I went through some interviews. I remember I had a guy give me a job offer, and it was awesome. He was like, I'll give you $60,000 in a car, but I'll be honest with you, John, you bring nothing to the table besides being able to work hard. He's like, you have no skills and nothing. He's like, this is going to be hard, but I believe in you, and go take some time to think on it. And I started thinking on like that comment, and I'm grateful for it, because I was basically like, he's right. Like I have no skills in the real world. Like all my skills are in like working hard and like sweating and blocking people and whatever.
Yeah.
And, that identity check was difficult. And so I did decide at that time though, I was like, I don't ever want somebody else to hold the reins on my future ever again. I never want to get cut again. I don't want someone to fire me or tell me I'm not good enough or that I can't do this or that I won't be this. And so that's when I started like kind of pursuing owning my own business and trying to make my own way. I was single. I didn't have any college debt that I needed to pay off. So I was really grateful there. I had some money left over from the NFL. So I had some runway and I just started kind of building and putting stuff online to try and sell some shit and start a business.
Cool. Okay. So at this point, you're 25-ish, 26?
24. Yep.
24.
Yeah, 24,
okay.
25.
You start so what's the primary focus of your business?
Answer any request or phone call that came in asking me to do something I could get paid for. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, dude. And I feel like in the trades and working with your hands, we all do this, right? How many things did you build getting started that you were like just taking the job to get the money?
I still am.
And like that, and what's cool now is you're known for like the awesome shit that you build. But at the time I was like, yeah, I'll do your flooring. I'll remodel your bathroom. I'll build your coffee table. I'll do these planter boxes.
So
I'll do your shutters. Anything
you're doing a jack
of
all trades. You're doing whatever. You're You're doing like handyman stuff, but custom stuff too.
I'm trying to do custom stuff, but I have zero skills. I'm learning as I go. And this is pretty much when I like, and anytime I like try to mentor anyone in the woodworking world or in like the kind of like carpentry world, I'm like, you've got to learn on your client's dime at some point. You've got to push yourself to build things that are above your skill set and get them to pay for them, or you're never going to go to where you want to go. And you're going to lose money on that. You're going to lose money every single time.
As we speak.
Right?
We speak.
With that being said, that's kind of how I was approaching it. And I knew enough to like use the internet as leverage. So this is right when Instagram started. So I started posting photos on there and starting to try to use that as an opportunity to like market myself. And then I also knew to like go and do some research on what else is being done in my area in regards to custom furniture. And no one was really touching reclaimed wood at the time. No one was doing like industrial furniture. And so I started kind of leaning into, I learned how to weld. I learned how to work with reclaimed wood. And I learned how to take photographs and throw them on the internet with captions in order to get people's attention.
So
like that's what my business started was.
That started like what, about 2012, 2011?
13. Yeah. Okay, 2013, 14.
Right. Okay. So so now it sounds to me like you kind of have a path, right?
You could say that.
All right. When did YouTube come into play?
Yeah. So Instagram opened my eyes to the ability to be part of a community. Now I'm still super naive, and this is something I talk about a lot with like anyone starting a business, especially in the trades, is that the reason I find it so difficult to win nowadays is because you have to be a media company and you have to have skills in building whatever you're building. And the fact is, one person can't split those skills and become great at both at the same time quickly. And then on top of it, you also have to know how to sell and run a business. So you have to become this three-headed dragon in order to become successful, unless you can get some capital and get some people around you to help you do it quickly. Or if not, it's going to take forever. And so at that time, I was like, I've got literally nothing to lose. I was, like I said, I was single. I was sleeping in my buddy's couch in the basement. Like I had nothing. I was like, I'm dumping everything I've got into trying to build something. And I started getting more client work. I started learning more on YouTube. I started posting more on social. And then on social, I started to see these influencers that were getting free tools. And for me, I was like, I could do that. I want free tools. That'll allow me to then not have to invest in these tools. And then I can build better and bigger things for potential customers. And I can, bring my cost of goods down, my cost of making better down without having to invest in these big tools. So I was like, I'm going to start to become an Instagram influencer so that I can get free tools. And I made that commitment. After a couple years, I made some friends and some peers. And this is kind of like when I started working with Milwaukee and Lincoln and DeWalt, and these companies started like sending me some stuff and inviting me to those events. And this is like, I want to say 2015, 16, when all that started to like pop off, if you remember. I decided to like start a YouTube channel just because I was like, I learned everything I know from being on YouTube, and I feel like I should be making videos. I was also getting like input that's like, you should get on YouTube. You should get on YouTube. And so at one point I just started a YouTube channel, and I think I started that channel in 2016.
Okay. So how long did it take you to realize I want somebody else to film this, and I want somebody else to edit these videos? I mean, were you proficient at editing, or is that again something you had to kind of learn as you developed your channel?
Yeah. No, I was not proficient at anything. I was just teaching myself I kid you not, Jason, unless I was going out and getting drunk, the only other thing I was doing was working and learning how to do this content thing. Like that was it for like 8 years. And it was growing the skills to build cool shit and then growing the skills to make content around it. And I didn't hire anyone to help me with content until I think like 2018. And so I was like pumping out videos as often as possible at that time that were garbage. Like if you go back and watch my early content, it's so bad, but like everyone's is. But it was me, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I knew I could. I was like, if there's someone else out there, I have an unbelievable confidence that I can do things that I should never go near doing. And that was one of them. I was like, I can learn how to edit. This guy's no smarter than me. I can do this. And it was it wasn't until after years, and then I made the flip from being building and selling custom furniture full time to making content full time, that I hired someone to help.
So that's what you do now. You make content full time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I want to save that discussion for our bonus feature. That's where we're going to go in and go a little bit deeper and talk a little bit more about the science. We'll talk about the science a little bit. And it always interests me. And the funny thing is, John, like the people that I've had on this podcast so far, I think I've only had 2 or 3 deck builders, and the rest are just really powerhouse social media. Like I've had Tim from Awesome Framers. I had the Canadian Carpenter on here. I just had Kyle on last week. I got you. It is a deck building podcast, but these are just people I've met through different avenues that have brought us together. And we do have one thing in common, is social media. And I'm a little bit later to the game because I didn't learn how to capitalize on social as quickly as some of you guys did.
Yeah.
But I did see the same thing that you touched on about, hey, these guys are getting these tools. How come they're getting them?
Yeah.
They got an audience.
Dude, you were one of them. You were getting every damn impact driver in America. And I remember I'm like, this dude's decks are, oh, damn it, these decks are sick. He deserves every draw. I remember like going into your shit. But I mean, I think that's one of the beautiful aspects of the internet, if you use it appropriately, right? And you are able to stay humble enough, is like, I love seeing other creators win. Now that like I'm at a point where I've been doing this long enough that like knowing that like you're doing a podcast and that I like even meeting you in person is like, this is not something that I could ever see you wanting to do, because I know you just wanted to build the world's literally best decks when we met 5 years ago. Yeah. Right. It's
still
awesome
am.
because, well, yeah, and you still are. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you're building world-class decks. But now you understand the impact you can have on a generation, right? By just putting that conversation out there.
I dig it,
and that's
man.
the burden guys like us have these days.
And that's so cool. It's so cool you say that, because you recognize, and I think you're right. Like we're trying to do something a little different. Obviously we want an audience. Obviously there's ulterior motives to what we're doing here, but you got the core, man. You got the core. Yeah. And I feel like people that listen to these conversations will also get something good out of it,
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm grateful. Yeah, I want to create. I still, even though as I get older, I'm like, ugh, what am I thinking? And I'm building crazy. I'm still doing the crazy, dude.
Oh, I know.
Like, right now, I'm right in the middle of crazy, and I can't help it. Like the next, and then I have another client. Well, what do you think, Jay? And I'm like, well, yeah, we could probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Why
we
not?
could build an invisible deck.
Yeah, man, we can do it all. but you get 5 months into something, you know,
Yeah.
I'm 3 months in, I got 2 months to go, 2 to 3, and it takes up half a year of my schedule, you know. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But I'm blessed to have those clients. The funny thing is, the one thing I want to say, and then I'll let you get back, is what you said about the tools. Like, I used to buy all my tools at pawn shops because I couldn't afford a brand new tool.
Craigslist. This is pre-Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, okay. So I was buying all that stuff, and I had a buddy at a pawn shop, and he would give me the $15. Here's a drill, you know, and a battery and a charger. I'm like, wow, man, that's really, thank you, buddy. Yeah, and but now that I can afford the tools, all the tool companies want to give them to me.
Yeah. And then you're like, I don't even know if I want to use this.
Right. and dude, and I said it. We're gonna say it again, Calvin. We just did a video on YouTube about does tool brand really matter? And basically what I said was, I can build any deck out of any color of tool. Does not matter. Give me what I need of that brand and give me all one color and I can do it. Easy. No problem. All day long. But there's a lot of loyalty that for some that go into these brands, right? And then I just said, wait a minute. Here's my 2 cents. These tool companies make tools so they can sell you a battery platform.
Yes.
That is the only reason that they have the tool, is so they can sell you batteries.
Yep.
And it's just crazy. And I've had so many battery failures with some of these companies. I'm like, hey, Metabo, I just had 6 batteries die on me, man.
Yeah.
Can you, actually it was 10. And they said, okay, we'll send you 6. I'm like, cool. I haven't seen them yet. That was like 2 months ago.
I went psycho on that video. For some reason, I looked up stuff, and that's very true. It's not like you're saying, oh, I have this feeling, but it's like true. It's like I found quotes from the CEOs and the actual. It's called razor and blade. You know, like razor companies will sell you the razor.
Sure.
But then you need the blades.
You got to have the blades.
You make money on the blades. Yeah.
Gillette, dang you.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think here's an
exactly
interesting component of that, is that what's happened in the world, especially in the tool world, and I'll say this straight up, I get paid by one tool company right now, 0. No one pays me anymore for anything to do with tools. And I almost will guarantee you that I have the biggest tool channel on YouTube right now, besides one other channel, with my second channel. We average like 850,000 views a video, and we post every single week, and all we do is play with tools. So with that being said,
can we collaborate sometime?
I don't know if you want to do what I do with tools, because it's
no, it's not just tool collaboration. It's just I want to collaborate. We'll come to you.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys out. It's borderline sacrilegious how we were doing. Like, I just bought every Ryobi tool at Home Depot yesterday.
We're gonna talk about it.
Unboxing.
Dude, we're almost to our end of our segment of our podcast, and I want to save some. This is really good stuff, man. So, Cal, can we just end it now?
Well, hold on. I did want to make a point before
make
you
your
want to
point.
jump over to the Patreon.
Yeah,
It's like the shift in the world that's happened over the last decade, since like I've been doing this for 10 years. You've been doing it for way longer. Like, these tool companies have gotten so much value and information out of guys like me and you and Kyle and all of the people online who are just pounding their stuff to the ground, as well as using it in content and putting it out there and having opinions and doing all this that they've never paid a penny for. And if you've watched the dramatic, and I know you and I have, because we're in the mix and we give a shit, and a lot of people don't know this, but like the speed in which tools are developed and put out onto the market today are 5 to 10 times faster than they were 5 years ago, and 20 times faster than they were 10 years ago. And that's because people like us have opinions, and they give a shit, and that they know that we are going to be moving the needle if we say one bad thing, or they don't have a tool, they don't have a cordless router, right? Or they don't have a cordless this, or they're not doing something, or the battery sucks or whatever. And it's insane, because we'll never see a dime from this multi-billion-dollar industry and how much it's moved, right? But the weight at the end of the day will come back to guys like us who just put the work in to use the shit and then put it out there. And like, I know the triple hammer for 2 reasons, right? You and Kyle. Never heard of the damn thing before that, right?
Hey.
Now there's
hey,
one in my
Metabo.
shop, right? You guys didn't get a dime from that. I know you didn't.
No.
And like and it's a shame. But
Yeah.
taking a step back, if you want to, I like to reverse engineer that, right? And I like to go, well, for me, having the opportunity to have that much influence and then actually see it turn into something tactical and tangential to like what I'm doing is a cap and a validation on the amount of work that guys like us put in. Because yes, we want to see the monetary value transition to our bank accounts immediately, right? But it's also amazing to see that we're able to do what we do and then put out a piece of content and know that in a world and an industry and big business and things that we never want to be a part of, right? That they're listening and that we actually have influence, right? We actually have impact. And then the millions of people that watch our shit care what we say, right? And when you think about it on that magnitude, you're like, you know what? What we do is pretty cool. Even if it feels like we're losing a lot, it's pretty cool. And I've just like, I've had conversations with people at brands after years of not talking, and they've been like, no, John, you've been one of our main guys forever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean I've been one of your main guys forever, right? And you're just like, they're like, no, like that video you did in 2018, you know, we internally blah, blah. And it's been a huge impact on like how we moved forward in this direction because of this thing and blah, blah. And I was just like, that's cool.
That
and
is
it's usually
cool.
from the smaller brands,
Well,
but like,
cut me a check then.
right.
You're welcome.
And that's where, so that's also the game that I'm playing these days, right? I'm just like not going to sit around and let these tool companies, you know, bully us, or these brands that want to use our backs for sponsorships and stuff, bully us and moving forward.
I'm going to share with you something in our bonus section because we're really out of time about that topic, and I kind of already described it, but we'll get into it in just a minute. So if you guys want to hear the rest of this or see the rest of this, join our right. You can. Are they going to see it?
If you want to see more with John and Mr. Dr. Dex, you can join the Patreon for $5 and get access to not just this bonus episode, but all the previous ones with all our previous guests.
Yeah, and if you want a T-shirt, you can join for a little bit more, right?
That's true. Yeah, we will send you a T-shirt if I forget what tier it is.
Yeah, there's a couple different tiers. All right, so Calvin,
Yes.
hit that music. John Malecki, you are a rock star and a legend in my eyes, and I am so grateful to have you. Thank you for we didn't really get a touch on a lot, but absolutely loved your backstory. So that's the win here. And so now we're going to get into some really cool stuff that we touched on, but I think we'll go a little deeper on in the bonus section. So if you want to, join our Patreon channel and check us out. But for now, we're over and out.